All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 3 of this match between. I'm gonna get this right now. Zap, help me out. Who are my teams? I apologize. This is
Uh,
ALNS and
yes,
TAF3, right? All
yes,
luck,
that's
no
correct.
skill. That's right. That's right. And ALNS is our northern spawn here. They are fielding a Lexington, Vladivostok, double Wichita. What? Otago, Cossack, and Lefantask. Zap, talk to me about TAF3.
Well, Taffy 3 is choosing to bring double Vladivostok, so they are not bringing a carrier. They're bringing an Edinburgh Tone, so I guess technically they're bringing a carrier. I don't know. An Otago, a Chapayev, and a Lo Yang. Now, you
They're
said,
bringing.
what?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
remember, Baltimore was banned, so
Oh
obviously
yeah.
all luck, no skill is like, fine, we'll see your ban and raise you a Wichita, which is, for all intents and purposes, very similar.
Yeah, yes, and similar.
hmm
But Wichita,
hmm
Wichita has some pretty significant differences from Baltimore. Two of which are going to play into this match. Okay, actually, no, only one of which is going to play into this match explicitly because the red team has not opted. That's Taffy 3 not taking a carrier. That makes a huge difference,
Yes.
right? Wichita's AA suite is not as robust, is not as good as Baltimore's. Wichita
hmm
is stealthier, but her radar is shorter ranged. So, that might still come into play, but we'll see how this goes. There is also not only very radical different lineups here, right? Because you've got a carrier on one side and double destroyer on the other side, double battleship and 4 cruiser. So very interesting lineup choices here. Both teams taking incredibly different options into this match.
Yeah, yeah, and overall, it feels like from a radar perspective, we're looking pretty even. From a hydro perspective, obviously, Mad Dog's Lo Yang has an advantage over the Cossack, Peaceman's Cossack, but um, we'll have to see how this all plays out. As it looks like the red team is heading towards. Well, they're kind of doing an even split, more
Yeah,
even than I would
Taffy
expect to see.
Taffy's gone for a nice even 4-3 split, whereas ALNS has gone for a 5-2 split, leaving the Otago and the Cossack back to kind of guard the B cap and anybody charging up the 7 line. Everybody else on their team, including the carrier planes, more or less focused around over at the A cap.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's what I would have expected to see Taffy 3 do. Something similar. Put two ships on the south side at Sea Cap. When you bring a second battleship instead of a carrier, you essentially free up a ship to go on to whichever side is going to be your push side. And I would have expected them to be pushing at A.
Indeed. Now, Fierce Nemesis' Wichita here on the top end of the A cap is in almost that exact same position that we saw the Chapayev get hammered in an earlier game on Warriors Pass.
Yes.
One of the key differences here is that the opposing battleship that might look for a cross shot on him is a Vladivostok that does not have the range and cannot take any kind of spotter plane to help boost him out to get that range up there. So,
Well,
um,
he's also behind the
go
island
ahead.
right now, anyways.
He is, but my point is that even if they could see him, it would not help because the Vlad that would have had that cross shot not able to
hmm
get it.
Right. All right, so we are seeing a push being formed by Taffy 3 now. The Vlad and Chapayev heading north on the 7 line with the Otago on the 9 line. And we just saw our producers here switch our views. And this push has not been spotted yet by All Luck, No Skill.
Well, it isn't. It is and it hasn't, right? Peaceman's Cossack has already dumped his conga line torpedoes down the channel,
hmm
trying to catch Hellbound's Vladivostok as he's coming up. So they've at least got an inkling that this is coming.
hmm
Um, but they do have the planes. You can see now the dive bombers, the Lexington HE dive bombers, kind of heading in that direction. They can see the Chapayev now, so they know he's there. And they've got shells out on the Cossack. So this is actually a bit of a nice pincer because they've got the Otago, that's PO1 Steve, way over on the 9 line. He's swung out wide as the
hmm
conga line torps miss Hellbound.
Very close, though.
Yeah, ALNS I think is going to have to redeploy something to deal with this push because I don't think they have the firepower to stop it.
Right. Meanwhile, Mad Dog's Lo Yang is fixing to go into ACAP, and I think he's going to try to dive the island. If he's successful there, it doesn't matter what radars the Wichitas bring.
Sinvex Zatago playing a very dangerous game with a Vladivostok lurking around the corner. Manages to dodge most of that incoming salvo. He and the Cossack both have torpedoes going down the channel. We'll have to see if they can manage to sneak one into somebody, but I'm betting that Otto's got his Hydro equipped. Possibly. We'll see.
Well,
Dyer's
but
wow.
Otto's getting free Hydro from General Hellbound's Vlad anyway. That's farther ahead of him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, he's picking up those torpedoes. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, when I cover replays, I always call that my poor man's Hydro. You get behind somebody else.
Yeah. So let somebody else face spot the torpedoes for you so you can dodge them. There you go.
Bingo. Now, Mad Dog paid dearly to get into that position in A. Unfortunately, he's unable to really just do much besides just sit there and get bombed by the Lexington on account of Wichita radar and all that good stuff. So.
Indeed, TAF3 just pushing hard across the board. They're into A. They're about to step onto B.
Yes.
And you can see now. Go ahead.
This is what you have to do with a battleship comp. You have to be aggressive. You cannot allow both sides to set up, essentially.
Indeed. ALNS looked like they might be trying to rotate their Vladivostok back for broadside shots on General Hellbound, but yeah, he's finally turning his turrets that direction. He's got good cover from the south. Welded steel won't have shots on him. There goes the shells, as some torpedoes also going downrange on Hellbound, but those are all going to fall astern. Carrier torps might catch him, maybe one.
One on the butt, perhaps.
Yep, one in the stern.
Yep.
And just like that, 7 minutes in, TAF3, their aggressive play, they own the whole board.
Right. Now, look at the Lo Yang at A. He's coming under fire from the Wichita. He's going to be out pretty soon. The Fantasque is helping support this, I think.
Dyer's playing a very dangerous game. Lots of ships with shots on him. And I would not feel comfortable with the Tone that close to me. That Japanese HE can do mean things.
Yeah, it looked like we were going to see a push happen, but Welded Steel's Vladivostok is probably causing those two Wichitas to pause for a second and rethink that decision.
Welded's position is very much holding back these Wichitas from just moving up and annihilating Mad Dog. Black Prince's Lexington bombers coming back in to see if they can finally put the kibosh on Mad Dog. A Vlad salvo gets there first, though.
Wow. Great shot from that Vlad.
CL Beery's Wichita caught out on the A-cap. He's got cover from the Vlad, but not the Edinburgh.
Yep, I think we'll see that again. Here comes a replay of that shot. Mad Dog just trying to put smoke on, not quickly enough.
Welded Steel looking for a cross shot on Nemesis's Wichita. Doesn't get much out of it. They do finally back Beery. Yep. And just like that, we're tied on kills. ALNS down on point. No board presence and down on health. I think what's really impressive to me, Zath, right, is that TAF3 engineered this board position, and they've maintained a health advantage the whole time they did it. Now they came into the game with a health advantage, right? Because they took one less. They took one less destroyer, but still, Nemesis just getting pounded over here in the A-cap.
Well, that's what's going to happen when you're in a Wichita.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and your side's exposed. So, but this is what else we're seeing here, Raptor, is we're seeing at least it seems right now, at least, the success of a 2 battleship comp against a 1 carrier, 1 battleship comp. We haven't seen this yet today.
We haven't, and I think you're right, Zath. I think the difference is in kind of how you field it, how you play it.
Execution coming up right here.
Well, we're going to find out. Torpedo, water. Oh, not quite.
No.
Welded executes Nemesis, but manages to survive. He's in a bit of a cross torp now. Some of those falling astern, but he's driving into some from the Atago, but nope, those are all going to go down his port side.
Some brilliant maneuvering by Welded Steel here, keeping his boat afloat, taking out the enemy. He wasn't even looking at the tanks of Vladivostok. He was just, there he goes.
Yep. Tank does finally win the duel. as now he's going to be face on with a Tony and an Edinburgh as he drives back into the A cap. But I'm still not sure that ALNS can recover Zap. Now, they are doing something sneaky. Have a look down the 6 line and check out Ben's Cossack.
Well, so if the Cossack goes into C, that will, of course, buy some time for that team. Some breathing room to perhaps get another kill. You've got a Vlad running down the Edinburgh and Tone right now, south of A, with carrier support.
Yes.
If C stops ticking, we change from 1 minute and 21 to about almost 2 minutes to loss for ALNS, which means ALNS then has 2 minutes to kill one of those cruisers south of A.
I think they can manage that, especially with the Vladivostok this close. He's inside surface detection for the Edinburgh, and the Tone is not terribly far outside of his. He's just behind an island, so he wouldn't have shots anyway.
Yeah, you would certainly hope so.
Oh, this could be it, Zap. This salvo right here from the Vlad could do it.
Mustang's trying to get behind the island for cover.
He does finally get there.
Nope, and he's behind the island, and he's popping his fancy super heal. Basically daring the tank to keep shooting him, because it's not going to work.
This is going to be super tight, Zap. They are going to pick up the C cap.
Yep.
ALNS is going to pick up C, but that still leaves a 90 seconds away from a TAF3 victory here with their aggressive 2-battleship team comp.
That's right. So they did gain a little bit of time. Here we see some Tone torpedo bombers coming in on the tank. It's obviously not going to do much, unless possibly detonate. But
they need a kill.
But ALNS needs a kill.
They need a kill, and they need to not lose a ship. Dyer's just pinging away with his reload booster. He knows they know they have to kill this Edinburgh.
Edinburgh responding.
They can't lose Dyer in the process. If Dyer goes out, that will end the game.
Well, but you lose in 54 seconds anyway, right? So
they got some damage in, and now Black Prince coming in with a Lex strike as the Vlad salvo goes in on the Edinburgh and doesn't. Now they get an overpen out of it.
Fantastic, hitting the S key, reversing, dodging that shell from the Edinburgh. Wow. And Tone dodging that too. Brilliant maneuvering in reverse.
All right, they forced the Edinburgh broadside to the Vlad. The Vlad's going to have time for one more salvo. This is it. They have to kill this cruiser. They have to kill Mustang's Edinburgh if they want the time extension. No, they don't get it.
Nope. Mustang
and he's healing. And he's healing again. That's the game. That's it, Zap. TAF3 is going to win this series by the skin of their teeth. Goodness.
Wow. What a game.
Hang on for a win. Woo!
What a game 3.
I gotta say, Zap, I'm excited to see a 2-battleship composition come in here and show that it can be made to work.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we talk about this in clan battles, right? When clan battles, you have the ability to take a carrier or a battleship. Some teams try to make the double battleship composition work, but usually the higher up you go, the more challenging it becomes to pull that off. Sooner or later, teams more or less feel forced into taking an aircraft carrier for the vision, for the strategic and tactical flexibility and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that really aggressive battleship play up the 7 line, they took the B cap, they held it the entire rest of the game, and then just so close, right? Those cruisers literally getting away from a Vlad in their face. He's trying to run them down. Really, really well done.
Yeah, brilliant play. I love it. And that's exactly what you have to do. We see that also in clan battles, like you were mentioning. When you choose that battleship, you're choosing to be aggressive. You're choosing to win one, if not both sides of the map as quickly as possible.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, the first round of the day is over. TAF3 will be advancing to our best of 16 round, which we'll be bringing you in a little while. In the meantime, let's duck back to the studio, talk to Conway and Chris for a little while.
That's right. See you in a little bit.
Yes, very well played here by Taffy, and I couldn't agree more with Sea Raptor and Lord Seth here. We do see the first team actually advancing with a double battleship setup. So Duke, we were talking about this earlier, and you've been rooting for the double BB setup, so you must be quite happy now, right?
I am very happy, but it's kind of a bittersweet happy because I do think TAF kind of cheated. They took a Tone, and that is half of a CV. But no, that is a really great strategical decision on their part. They said, we'll take a Tone, we don't need a CV. The Tone can basically perform the same function, just at a less frequent basis. It can still go out and spot and strike, not as frequently, but can perform that task. And they took 2 battleships, and they played it very, very well. They positioned those battleships right where they needed to and put them in key spots, which gave them a really, really big advantage, because they put so much pressure on the map that ALNS just couldn't answer to.
Yeah, I have to say, I really like the setup of TAF3 with only bringing 1 DD, bringing more cruisers, bringing the Tony, for example, to at least have the chance, if they really need that spotting in a dire way, that they can get it. And also then just leveraging these battleships in a really, really decent way. And with the DD choice, actually picking the Low Yang, I liked it. It was a risky move to push it next to that rock, but it was crazy to see for how long it was alive, fighting against these Wichitas. The Wichitas had to pay a very big price getting close to it just to get that Low Yang off the board. But I think it really paid off for TAF3. The good thing is that we do have actually our casters ready to go and join us for a little bit of a post-game discussion, so we can talk about this, which is a great game to talk about, because it was the first match where we saw the CV team actually lose it. So let's talk about why this happened. Lord Seth, what do you think made the difference here? That they actually managed to pull this off, while the other teams we were seeing today didn't manage to pull it off?
Aggression. What made the difference was that both battleships knew where they were going. We talked at the early part of the map, TAF3's battleship going up the 7 line, not being able to help with cross shots. It didn't matter, right? His job was to do something totally different, put pressure on the other side. At the same time, TAF3 was able to put pressure going up the A side. So that was absolutely huge, being able to just evenly apply pressure all the way up to the north, and eventually what ended up happening was all luck, no skill, essentially ran out of board positioning.
Yes,
Yeah, it was a real privilege to watch. We've seen, I think that was about the 3rd match we've watched today, where one team took a carrier, the other team took 2 battleships, and in the other games the carrier was decisively impactful, and some of that I think was because, you know, we pointed out early that as Zath kept noting, the aggression made a big difference. And I think in the other games we watched, maybe the double battleship comps were just a little too passive. Sometimes, you know, and you see this a lot in random battles, battleships will kind of kick back and they'll wait for the opposing team to make a mistake. And when you've got 2 battleships on the board, you're constantly looking for that cross shot, right? You're on the right, you're looking left, going, somebody over there has forgot about me, or he doesn't realize I can hit him, and vice versa. But in the higher you go in competitive play, the more these players have studied the maps and studied the positions of their ships that they intend to take, especially early in a game, the less likely you are to find that sort of thing. And so that second battleship position can still be effective, but it's more effective if you literally just ram it down the opposing team's throat, which is exactly what we saw here with the Vladivostok charge right up the 7-8 line. And something that we didn't talk about during the game, but I think is important. This is a great map for that. Warrior's Path is a map where you can get away with that. You drive a battleship to B, and you've got all of these little island covers that prevent great cross shots that the enemy might have on you from coming in. It makes it harder. It makes you harder to spot. It makes it harder for the opposing carrier to line strikes up in there. There's constantly, he's got to deal with islands, and there's places you can he's got to maneuver his planes around that he can't see you and everything. And it was really well executed by TAF3. So kudos to them for picking the right map, the right team lineup, and executing that strategy so well.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Do you expect more teams in the round of 16 to field it for all matches, or rather for specific matches, like especially maps?
What's exciting to me, Chrysanthos, is that this shows that a battleship comp is viable, that it can work against a carrier comp, and we've seen so many battles previously where the carrier team just dominated. So it does show that it can work. I think it shows that it requires a bit more practice and preparation in order to make it work. But the fact that it does work means, hey, teams can continue to put this in their toolbox. In other words, it doesn't come down to which team brought the better carrier player or the right carrier or anything like that. It adds so much more variation to this tournament.
Yeah, I agree that I do believe you'll see it again, but I think the key here is what we were just talking about with it's about picking the right lineup on the right map. There are maps that you probably don't want 2 battleships, but there are maps that you can make this kind of aggressive double battleship composition work if you're willing to try it. And I think that's some of what we're dealing with is a bit of a mental block, in my opinion, on the part of some of the team captains or the teams themselves. Just, there's a mentality that the carrier is superior, and it is in a lot of situations, in the sense of it does give you more flexibility across the whole battlefield. But if you go in with a very specific plan or a mindset of how you're going to approach a game, the battleship can actually be the right pick. Especially, again, given the map choice. It's all about what team you field on what map and how you lay it out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's good to see that teams can have this in their toolbox and use it as a surprise for the enemy team, for example. So yeah, very, very exciting things, and we'll be, of course, broadcasting more games after this one. But in the meantime, now we will actually run a quiz together with our audience and check how much attention you pay to naval history and check up on that. So thanks to Sea Raptor and Lord Seth. Great job casting so far. And of course, we will hand it back to you guys with the set of matches we will have after the quiz. So thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.
See you later.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is actually run a quiz with you. It's a trivia quiz. So together with Verizon and the History Channel, we've prepared a fun quiz to test your naval history knowledge. And the way this works is we're all here on Twitch together, right? And this is an extension. So what you have to do is it will all happen here beneath us. If you want to participate, you can just basically enable the extension to see your nickname, because that's just something that Twitch always asks you to provide the access so that you can actually participate and see your nickname. Otherwise you're just going to be a random player number, which we'll still see. But if you want to see your nickname up there, give it the rights so you can participate. Otherwise, if you say like, hey, I don't want to click on buttons, I just want to type the answer in chat, you can of course do this. Now we have 5 questions prepared for you here. And I'll just start the quiz, and we'll start with a message number 1. So we're sending the rules now to you so you can see how it's going to work, right? You do get points for the correct answers. The faster you are, the more points you're going to get. If you're not answering, you're not going to get any points. You're not going to lose any points. But if you click on the wrong answer, you're going to get negative points. So if you're not 100% sure, it might sometimes be better to just not click on any of the options, because you might get a big negative amount of points, and that's not what you want to get. And then, of course, at the end of this quiz, the player with the most points is going to be the winner. So should we start it, you?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so let's start it. So the first question is, which of the following American submarines was the very first nuclear-powered sub in the world, christened in 1954? Is this the USS Argonaut, the USS Constitution, the USS Cosmonaut, or the USS Nautilus? Do you know the answer?
I wish I did, but clearly I didn't study up enough on my history.
So yeah, guys, as you can see, like the faster you are, the more points you can potentially get. But you can also just take a little bit of time and think about it before you click the wrong thing. Does Mr. Conway know the answer? I would have picked the wrong answer. I can say this in full confidence that I would probably picked the wrong.
I'm gonna call it the Nautilus.
Okay, I would have said the probably would have said the Argonaut, but the correct answer is the USS Nautilus. Good job, Conway. Good job, Conway. And actually, most of you got it right. 184 actually picked it, and only very few picked the wrong one. So good job. You did know the first one. Duke, do you want to read out the second question?
Sure. Named after a pioneering World War I era British warship, this popular type of steam-powered battleship stood out for its large array of high-caliber guns. What was it called?
Was it the Bismarck? Was it the Dreadnought? Was it the Defender? Or was it the Dauntless? Chat. This one you definitely should know.
Can I give them a hint?
Yes, you can give them a hint.
It's a ship in the game.
Yes. And, chat, you should know this. You should know this. The answer is the Dreadnought. The Bismarck is, first of all, spelled wrong. This is every German will tell you, like Bismarck, you have to write with the CK, otherwise it's not the Bismarck. And that is, of course, a German ship. And the correct answer was Dreadnought. There we go. So, we do have, most of you got this right, but there were still 27 of you who thought it's the Bismarck. You have to pay more attention to our tech tree in the game, and you will learn that it's not a British warship, and also not in World War One. Okay, going to the next question. How many guns was the HMS Victory equipped with when she led the British Navy to victory in 1805's Battle of Trafalgar? Was it 62, 24, 104, or 208?
I know this one.
You know this one.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, don't spoil it yet.
No, I'm not going to spoil it yet. I
People
just wanted to
participating.
point out.
It's
that I know.
it's of course a very wide range of amount of guns.
Yes. So Chrysanthus, what's your guess?
I see the answer, so I cannot. I think I would have probably picked 62, because it's always hard for me to remember just how many guns
Lots.
these ships had back in the day, right?
But first-rate ship of the line, 3 gun decks on top of each other. So
Yes.
100 and 104.
So yeah, the correct answer is actually 104. Let's see how many of you got this right. The majority got it right, but way more actually picked other numbers. So I see that 62 is a very popular answer. I would have gone for the same answer, chat. I cannot blame you. But yeah, 104 guns they had equipped. Okay, Duke, let's go for the next question.
All right. This is a true or false question. The U-boat.
Oh, wait, that's not the correct one. It's actually the other one.
Oh, I have them in the wrong order. I'm sorry. In the 16th century, the Korean Navy... No?
No, it's airtight besides oar holes and featuring spikes. What was the name of the Korean Navy most unique seafaring craft? Was it Korean sailing eggs, Korean turtle ships, Korean clam boats, or Korean blowfish balloons? I'm sorry, the app randomizes sometimes the questions, so this is why you had the wrong order. Sorry.
What a shame.
So this is for me. What would you say? Like Korean sailing eggs, clam boats, turtle ships, or Korean blowfish balloons? Conway, do you know?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I'm interested in history.
Okay.
I mean, it's they look quite cool. The correct answer, I believe, is Korean turtle ships.
Okay, not the clam boats. I love that name. So, no, the correct answer is actually the Korean turtle ships. And most of you got this right. I love the blowfish balloons, though. I do understand that you guys really, really love that answer. Blowfish balloons. So, we can actually quickly show the scores so far. We have actually Sidin leading here for this question with 19,000 points. So he was very, very quick. So this is the top 5 for the questions. And in total score, Sidin is also leading with 75,000 points in front of Ricky Boss 135. And as you can see here, all of the contestants with numbers, you didn't give the app the permission to actually show your nickname. So if you click on that extension, you can actually provide it with the access, so your name can also be displayed here. Now, for the last question, that is actually going to be the USS Enterprise, which played critical roles in multiple major World War II battles, was what kind of ship? Was it a submarine, a battleship, a destroyer, or an aircraft?
It's incorrect. Spaceship.
And you should know this, chat. You should know this. It is one of the naughty ships that we actually have in the game. And you cannot get your hands on it right now. And it is, of course, an aircraft carrier. This is also the reason why you don't see it in today's tournament, because that ship is not available right now, so our teams are not able to play with it. And 315 got this right. Very good job. Only a handful, only 20 actually picked other answers. So good job to you guys. I do love these quizzes. Like some questions are of course easier than others, but this one was the most obvious one. So let's take a look at the final results, and we do see that Saidin actually with 95,000 points won this quiz. Ricky Boss second here, and Smoochie either snuck his way into place number 6, or he just managed to change his name. Very good job here, guys. And Cybernetic Soup. Wow, 19,500 points. That means it starts with 20,000 points, right? So he must have clicked immediately on this button. Okay, great. So thank you very much for participating in this chat. If you would actually like to see a little bit more of this content, for example, in tournament broadcasts, where we can actually also ask you questions about specific ships or, for example, competitive content, please let us know in chat so we can actually take a look at that. Maybe that's something for the future that we could integrate into tournaments, just for a little bit of fun and break in between. Yeah, the other thing that we wanted to talk about is actually talking about the historical aspect of World of Warships. You can actually get by now into museums, and we had the longest night of museum stream just a few months ago, actually in May. We were able to bring some of the experience to you online. Of course, a lot of museums are still not open yet. The pandemic is still, all over the world, and might sometimes be very hard to actually get to the museum ship that you would like to experience. And Verizon actually managed to create a really, really cool AR experience where you can check out at least part of the museum experience at home or outdoors with the Museum of Warships app. This app allows you to actually interact with 3D models of some of the most iconic historical battleships. For example, the USS Arizona, right? Where you can get an in-depth look at the ships. You can see different interactive hotspots and reveal historical facts in 3D, where you can just learn more about all of these ships. If you head to www.verizon.com/5G warships, you can actually try it live right now and take a look at, just taking your, for example, USS Arizona or the USS Missouri, and just put it onto your desk or your living room desk, wherever you are right now, and actually take a look at it. But let's actually show you how it works and how it looks like, so you have a better understanding of how that would look like on your home.
This is really the future of museums.
Because of COVID, the yearly event of Fleet Week wasn't able to be experienced in the way it had been in the past, with thousands of people in attendance, all coming together to celebrate the glory of our naval successes. That's why we partnered with World of Warships. It's a game that is praised for its highly realistic simulations of warships and its historical accuracy. The Museum of Warships is an AR experience that allows you to fully explore some of the most iconic historical battleships in history, right there in front of you, wherever you are.
There are hotspots across each ship, calling out individual historical facts about the ship.
The ultra-low latency and high capacity of 5G ultra-wideband, which is available only in parts of select cities, have given us the abilities to create a truly unique and mind-blowing experience.
The Basking Ridge facility has a unique 5G ultra-wideband indoor setup that allows for an ultra-wideband connection indoors.
However, this experience is really designed to be viewed and engaged with outdoors. What's really amazing about this project is being able to engage with these really meaningful pieces of history and show them to people who perhaps aren't aware or haven't seen that sort of history before up close. I think that's what's so magical about 5G and about the ability to bring these sort of museums into AR spaces.
Yeah, that's a cool app you can actually try out at home. Go do it. It works with all phones. We actually showcased it during King of the Sea live with the phone. So maybe we'll do this again for the 8th of August when we're going to have the finals here to show you just how easy it is to run at home. And I think it's a really, really cool tool to use just, when you're outside and you have a good enough connection to run this. Don't forget, the USS Arizona, that was actually shown in there, and the USS Albany, plus 4 months of premium time, are still available for Verizon customers in the United States. If you just head to wo.ws/Verizon, you can actually claim all of this for free and make it your own in your account. So, next match, AMD versus 26. What do you think about the ship bans?
Ship bans, I think these are pretty standard and reasonable bans. Cossack is a very, very strong DD at tier 8. It has a lot of staying power. It's a very defensive ship with its very quick reloading smoke generator. Tone, of course, being a CV for free in the form of a hybrid ship. Kaga is a very strong CV at this tier, so I'm not very surprised with that ban. Lexington, I think you might ban Lexington just because its HE bombs can pose such a threat to DDs. And I think that's probably the only explanation I can come up with for that ban.
Yeah, I think in general, it's interesting to see that with those bans, the CV choice is super limited, right? And the one thing that you always have to keep in mind with the toner, though, is that while a CV can launch planes straight from the beginning and can light up the entire map, for the toner, it will start off with a cooldown for the plane, so you won't have the initial spotting. You might launch it later on, but you still have a cooldown, so it's limited in how it can actually kind of substitute ACV. So it's kind of like a smaller version of it with very clear restrictions. But of course, it can make a huge difference if you just need to spot. For example, you have the match is close to end. You need to spot that one ship. No other DD or cruiser would be able to light it up, and you have that toner being able to just spot it, maybe apply 1 or 2 torpedoes for damage, or to just have it for your BBs, cruisers to be lit up and finish off the enemy target. Not surprised by the Cossack, a very competitive destroyer, great concealment, great guns, not the strongest torpedo boat, right? Only one launcher with 5 torpedoes, single launched, but with the defensive smoke, usually always available with the fast reload, so a very, very, very good ship. And I was surprised to see that not more teams have actually banned the Cossack so far, but there are, of course, a lot of other choices in terms of DDs. Now, the first map is going to be Warrior's Path. Would you expect to see one of the teams with so many CVs banned potentially try a double BB setup again?
I hope so. As C Raptor pointed out, Warrior's Path is a very good map for double BB strategies, and we saw 2 teams play so far with double BBs on Warrior's Path. Both of them played very well. One, of course, won their match. So I hope we do get to see a double BB strategy. If we do, I think we'll probably see it from the team AMD. So AMD went 2-3 in their qualifying or in their training matches prior to this event. Of course, the Blue Falcons, which is 26, they actually went undefeated, and so they're the #1 seed in this event, and they got a bye in the first round today. One of the players on that team is Cable Guy, who is a fantastic CV player. So I'd be surprised if they give up CV, but you never know.
Yeah, so that's always, of course, also a factor, like how skilled are these players and how comfortable they are in certain ships. Like these are not the super, super top teams in terms of like clan battle performance, and they might not have, like every team can feel like, really good CV player. They might, for example, also just be way more comfortable with playing battleships. But the match is starting in the background. So chat, let us know, who do you think is going to win this match? We do have a fresh match, so let's see who's going to take this one. Is it AMD or is it the Blue Falcons here on Warrior's Path? Of course, the match is going to be brought to you by Lord Seth and C Raptor. If you like what they're doing, go check out their channels. We usually show you the URL at the beginning of the battle when they start talking, so you can find their channels easily. Enjoy the match.